Namaste and welcome to the Ilonggayogi podcast. My name is Kate. I'm from Iloilo City. I'm a certified yoga instructor and certified in mental health counseling. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and healing. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that I teach classes both in person and online. So if you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to bookwen.com/healing-iloilo for the schedule and rates and to book as well. So hello once again. I am looking forward to this episode because today we're going to focus on my relationships, and most particularly is my marriage, my relationship with my husband or my partner now. And I want to do this every now and then because I feel like my relationship with my partner has been very, I guess, transformative in, and this has been the most healthy relationship that I've had in my entire life. And I have to credit my healing journey and my mindfulness journey for helping me get to this place now wherein I can communicate properly with my partner, and that I have been able to attract or bring in a partner like him who is also equally able to communicate with me and just has, I guess, a more stable way of dealing with emotions and just everything in life than I do. So we really balance each other out. And because of that, I also want to update you that today, like right before I filmed this, I actually had my first therapy session. And it's been a while since I've had like a legit therapy session. And I tell you, I've been putting it off for a long, long time. Like, even to book this therapy session took me a while. Like, I paid for the session, I think, like a week ago. And then, like, I wasn't able to book a session right away until I felt like I just something was off, like something was not functioning properly in my brain, and I felt so much in my physical body, and I just knew that something's wrong. Not in a way that is like like a health scare or anything like that, but just I felt like I think I need some professional help. So I did do that. I finally booked a session, and good thing I found one for today. And I even mentioned it during the session, like how nervous I was. Like, I was so nervous about this session. I I was just having so much anxiety beforehand. I didn't know what to do. Like, I had to take very deep breaths, a lot of deep breaths before it. But when I did come into the session, I found like it was very, very helpful. It was exactly what I needed. And I found the support that I also was in need of, desperately in need of, because, with the line of work that I do, I always like have to give a lot of myself to others. And so it's like always thinking of others, always giving my time to others, and doing everything that I do for others, not really for me. So I mentioned that how like I just need someone else to support me for a change, like to give me their time for a change, because I don't have that now. And, especially now that I am married, all the more that I have to give my time and to give more, I have to be able to do all these household chores, because I don't also want to just rely on help all the time, like a helper all the time. I also want to be able to do them myself, and I have to work in order for our future. It's not just about me anymore. Of course, my partner also does the same. But, now that I'm kind of independent, like I have to do so much, not just for me, but like for others around me. So this was very much needed and like overdue as well. I really needed someone to listen and I needed someone who I didn't know at all, because I am not comfortable like sharing and talking about my feelings or what's going on with me with like friends, or even if I'm very close with them, I'm just not comfortable doing that anymore. And I'm not always comfortable sharing every detail with my husband either. Like, I'll just let him know that I'm not okay or this is what's going on. But it's really different when you actually like explain it to someone and like go through it with someone, and then they give you like tools or help you like process it little by little. So um like I really needed that session, and I really needed that professional help, which I don't think I could have gotten anywhere else. So I do think that I will start doing that regularly. It'll be like a monthly thing for me, and it costs a lot, but it's definitely worth it, and I know that I need it, especially with what I do every day, like the line of work that I have. So that has been the recent update in my life, and because of that, I did share a story. So if you don't follow me yet on Instagram, my Instagram is at ilonggayogi, just like the title of this podcast. I shared a story just asking anyone who wants to answer it, what are the usual issues that they face in a relationship, and it can be like a work relationship, family relationship, friendship, or a romantic one. And most people said it's communication, and I kind of felt like that would be the answer, because a lot of the times, especially as a counselor too, I usually get a lot of that, like people who just had issues miscommunicating one another, and misunderstandings, and that can be like the root of a lot of the problems that we face. Even like for me personally, I know that that's like the root of my problems and my struggles. So communication is definitely number one, and I feel like it's quite perfect that that was the answer, because I also want to share with you how me and my partner now, my husband now, leaned on communication a lot, and like really depended on that to help us get to where we are now. Like, that was the foundation of our relationship. So when me and my partner started, I guess, dating in a way, it was important for us to communicate clearly what our boundaries were. Like, from the start, we wanted to make sure that that was clear. And because when we first started dating, I was in a point in my life where I have learned from all the past people I've dated and all the exes that I've had that I need to take, excuse me, I need to take my time. Like, I need to take my time and really get to know whoever I'm dating, especially because I wanted a committed relationship. I knew that I wanted a committed relationship, and I knew that I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids, of course, down the line, but that was where I was headed to. So I wanted to be very precise with who I allow in my life, that this person is deserving, and this person is someone I can trust and rely on, and is exactly the type of partner that I want to have with me for the rest of my life, especially because I'm a child of divorce. And so all the more that I feel like this was important to me, like that was a priority. So from the beginning, like me and my partner, we both made it clear, like, okay, for me, I my boundary is that I'm gonna take my time. So we're not gonna get in a relationship anytime soon, and we're gonna take our time with this. And whenever, like, we communicated that verbally with each other, like we both said that to each other, that if ever one of us like starts to fall for each other, or like if I develop stronger feelings for you, I'm gonna let you know. I'm gonna be clear with you, and I'm gonna let you know immediately, so that I can sense, or I can know if we're still on the same page. Because if we're not, I already said that to him, like, if we're not gonna be on the same page, I'm gonna have to let this go. I'm gonna have to end this immediately. And that did happen. That did happen, because his boundary was also, I am not going to get into a relationship. I am not ready to commit to a relationship, because at that time, which was like before the pandemic, he his main focus was his studies. He was taking his second degree, and so it was important for him to graduate, to review, and then to get the board exams, and then to pass those board exams, and then eventually work, because for him, he had a timeline. He wanted to do all of this before a certain event, before something. And so he wanted to commit to that. And he was very much focused on that pre-pandemic. Of course, things have changed now after the pandemic, and because of a lot of things that have happened in his family, and in my family, like a lot of things have changed. So, but during that time, that was our boundary, like before we decided to commit to each other. And we made that very clear. He also made that very clear that this is what I want, this is what I'll do. And if ever this happens, just, we'll communicate again with each other, come back to each other, and make sure that we're both like on the same page all the time, because he also didn't want to hurt me, especially if I have fallen for him, or like I have feelings for him and he doesn't. He didn't want that to happen. He knew that, like, I don't want to hurt you, I don't want to make this messy, so let's just be clear with what we want. So that's what we did. And then after like several months, I knew that, okay, I think I'm starting to develop feelings for this person, because we've been hanging out like almost every day, for I think 3 to 4 months. And so I made it clear, like, hey, I think I'm starting to have feelings for you. So, like, if you have the same feelings, we can continue this. But if you don't, then let's just stop it here right now. And so he said, like, I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm not where you are at yet. So I said, okay, then, so we ended things. We stopped communicating. And during that time, I was definitely like open to dating other people, to seeing other people. And as we continued our lives, like not really together, and not seeing each other at all, except for when I would go to the gym, right? Or like, because he's the coach there. Anyway, um, after a while, he realized that, oh, wait, I think I want to be with this girl. And she has mentioned that. He's told me that before. Like, he realized that, oh, I think I don't want to lose this girl anymore. And if I do, that would be like a big, huge like loss for him. And then from there, he reached out to me again and just like told me like, hey, I think I want to continue doing this. So we kind of redated again for several months, until the end of the year. So by the end of the year, the last couple of months of the year, that's when he asked me to be his girlfriend, like officially. So it almost like took the entire year for us to finally like officially just say like, okay, I think we're gonna date, and be committed to one another. And because of that, communicating with each other, it just allowed like both of us to not hide anything, that was very important to us. Like during this time, of course, we kept certain things to each other. Like I kept certain things to myself. I didn't want us to go deep into our history, because the moment like you talk about your history, you just get more attached. So during this time, we wanted to make sure that, yeah, we're just gonna hang out, and that's it. Get to know each other. But laying down those boundaries allowed us to be clear with exactly what we wanted, and make sure that we're not here to play games, which we were both very clear with. We didn't have any hidden agendas, and we were able to like get that out of the way immediately. And then, like, as we did that, as we went through that whole year of just getting to know each other, figuring out whether we have feelings for each other or not, we made sure to confirm that with our actions and decisions. Because one thing that I've learned, especially in my past relationships, is it's one thing for your partner to just say certain things. Sorry, my dog's barking, but um, anyway, it's one thing for your, and I have my microphone here, as you can see if you're watching through YouTube. Anyway, it's one thing for your partner to say certain things and then to do the opposite thing, or to not follow through with that. So that was one thing that I was definitely looking out for, like really judging him for that, and making sure that I also did the same, that whatever I whatever I promised or said to him or communicated to him, I made sure that my actions and my decisions also align with that. Because if they don't align, like for him, if that didn't align, that was a red flag for me. And I was very sure, I was very like precise about that. Like it has to align, because if it doesn't, then that means it's a lie. Um, and I also just looked at his communication style as well, how he would communicate with me just on a daily basis, and to see if that fit with me and if that worked for me too. And I just wanted to also like make sure of that, because that could also be an issue if you have like different communication skills. So when I was able to do that, confirm how he communicated with me and with like his actions and decisions, we always communicated with each other any changes that would happen in our life, personal life, especially like when we were just boyfriend and girlfriend, like through the next few years that we were together. We knew that we would go through changes together, like the pandemic, and just like changes in your career path, changes in how you deal with certain things, and like of course like emotions, different personal issues that come up for each other. We always like would come back and just communicate that, like, okay, like right now I think I don't want to pursue this anymore. I think this is what I want to do. Does that still align with you, with your beliefs, and is that okay with you? And same with me, vice versa. So we've always done that throughout the time that we've been together so far. The next thing that we also do, as we go through those changes, is to also communicate with each other exactly what kind of support that we need. I mean, because we both know that we've always both said, he's always told me this from the start, that what if we commit to each other, and like the moment he decided to commit to me, he has always told me that from that day on, I know that I am your partner now, and that means we are a team. Like we have to work together if this is exactly what we want. And for him, that is what he wants. He wants to be with me no matter what. And he also, with that, he knows like the baggage that comes with that. He knows that I deal with a lot of mental stuff. He knows what's going on with me health wise. And he's also gotten to know me and how I deal with certain things. And so because of that, he has made it clear that I'm gonna stay with you because I know what comes along with that, and I am ready for that, and I will be there to be your partner. Like this is a team partnership kind of thing, and we're gonna work together and support each other through this, through everything. And that's exactly what we've been doing. Not only that, but as we go through these big life changes as a couple, we always again communicate with each other if there are any expectations, like especially if we have big milestone changes, like for example getting married, making sure that before we settle down we were clear with each other, like, okay, what are your expectations in this marriage, what are your hesitations about the marriage, or let's say for kids, like now that we are married, what are your expectations about having kids, or what are your hesitations, what if this happens, does this still work for you, and how can we both work together to make that happen, or to change that. So we've always again taken the time to sit down and discuss those things. As formal as it can sound, it has been very, very necessary, because we both agree that this is a partnership and a life partnership, and we're going to always treat it like for me, our love is something that we need to protect and is something that's sacred. It's almost like this is our baby, not a literal baby, but this is our baby, and so we need to protect this at all costs, and do all the damage control that we need to make sure that it's safe and that it grows and it flourishes as we stay together. So kind of that's how we've been maneuvering our relationship so far. But I think the most important one is, besides the communicating, is the listening, especially recently as we went through what we went through, like a huge struggle together, like a difficult time together, because we both understood like the pain that we went through, and we both knew like, yeah, most likely this is what he's thinking, most likely this is how he feels, because I also feel it, and we both like agreed and expressed that to each other. It was very important that we just listen to each other, and we give each other the time to just say what they want to say, express what they want to express, and just like listen, and that's it. Not really have to give advice or any tip or change anything, but just like be there and listen to each other. That has been the glue that has kept us together throughout this entire time. So before I continue, I just want to take a quick break and talk about my juice, Daily Greens. So if you're in Iloilo City and you're looking for healthy juice that doesn't have any added sugar, no preservatives, it's packed with a variety of vegetables and fruits, then you should try Daily Greens. With 2 flavors, I have healthy greens, which is mostly leafy greens, and carrots and veg, which is 50% carrots and other vegetables and fruits, also my favorite. This is unlike any other juice sold on the market. So most juices are really packed with more fruits just to help it taste better, but completely miss the point of being a nutritious and healthy drink. Remember, fruits are still filled with sugar and must be enjoyed in controlled portions. Daily Greens make sure that you get the most out of a bottle, packing it with more vegetables than fruits and making it fresh, not to mention affordable for everyone. You can enjoy a bottle or 2 every day, which is perfect if your goal is to maintain healthy yet easy habits in the long run. Because we want to ensure the best quality, I encourage you to pre-order at least a day before, and you can either pick it up at any of my classes or have it delivered straight to you via Grab. This is your sign to start building healthier habits in the most convenient way with Daily Greens. So how do we communicate now? Now that we're married, how does that communication happen? What does it look like? So this is actually something that I learned from TikTok, and I don't have the TikTok handle anymore, but this was like very popular, especially like in 2020. I remember finding this the first time that I opened a TikTok account, and this is something that we do probably like every other week or as needed, and we do these check-ins, so we call them check-ins, and we always carve out time to communicate with each other to do these check-ins. And usually I think the best time to do it is when you're on a date, wherein you just like take time to sit down and eat and also communicate with each other instead of being on your phone while you're eating, while you're on a date. So we've been doing that a lot recently. So just to give you an idea of what we do in those check-ins. So first, we have several questions, and I'll share each one of those questions with you. So number 1, we ask each other, when did you feel most loved recently? So we allow each other to share, and we don't comment anything. We just like let them share, and then I share as well. After that, second, we ask each other, when did you feel ignored or neglected? I think sometimes we are able to share here, like kind of let each other know, like, oh, I felt neglected at this point and when this happened, but we don't always have anything to share yet. So there's that, and I know that will change in time, but I think it's very important that we include that, because a lot of the problems that arise in a relationship, especially in a marriage, are because of those moments where you feel like you've been ignored, like you've been forgotten, neglected, or where you felt like your partner didn't notice you or listen to you. So we always like have that question present, and I think that's very important. And whenever we do discuss this question, we try to do it in a way that we are very understanding of our significant other, and we're not answering it in a way like, oh, you did this and I hate you for it. Like, we're not attacking each other. We just kind of like say, I think there was this time this week when I told you to do this certain thing, but you didn't. Or let's say you said something in front of our friends and it was hard for me to respond to that. So I felt very disrespected. That hasn't happened, by the way, but something like that. We follow that up with, do you need time alone? this week, or do you need more time together? Okay, so that's another question that we always talk about, and that question is actually kind of important to me, um, because like I think my to me my love language, both of our love language, is really spending time together. But also an introvert, so I need like time alone. Like I need some time to just be alone and be with myself and nothing else. While he really thrives, he's an extrovert, so he thrives like being with other people, and just like being out, going out. So I know that there are times when he would prefer to just be out and not stay home, while I would prefer to just stay home. So it's this is a very important question for me that we make that clear. And for those who, for all those married couples out there, or even if you're not married, you could even like add on to this, like, do you need more um, time? How do I put it? Do you need more adult time there? I think that's like the safest way to say that. Like, do you need more adult time together, or do you not need that, in the coming week? And I think that's very, very important, especially like for our relationship and like our marriage, of keeping it just like alive and just happy and thriving, I think it's very important that we just be clear about that, because I feel like a lot of Filipino marriages or relationships lack that sometimes, because it's not clearly communicated with each other, because again, it's very taboo. But to me, like, that's a very important part of a relationship, and because like that's how you express your love, in a very different, unique way. So that's another thing that you could add on to that. Like, besides, like, do you need alone time, or do you need time together? You could also ask, do you need adult time together, like some sexy time together, or do you not need that because you're going to be extra busy? So I think that's very important to also make that clear and be open about that, right? um, the next would be, what do you want to focus on for the week? So for example, because with we have, work, careers, um, and our career is very much, again, like a career wherein you give your time, you give a lot of yourself to others. um, we make sure that we ask each other and we're clear about, like, okay, what do you need to focus on for the week? So for example, like, I can let him know that, oh, this week I have like this many events, and this many yoga classes, so I think I need to focus on like taking some time off, not working out as often. So that's just an example, so that at least he knows that, and he's also updated with what's going on in my life. And the same with him. Once we answer that question, the next question is, how can I support you in that? How can I support you in that? I feel like, that question has been, again, very transformative in our relationship. I cannot tell you the times where, I just like let him know that, I'm not doing good right now. And I also have such a busy day today. And then by that time, like when I say that, I just feel like defeated and very down. And then he just looks at me and then asks me, how can I support you? And then like that alone already is like, oh my gosh, that is like a huge weight lifted off my chest. And I feel like, oh yeah, I could ask him to support me if I needed to. And then, I just like let him know what I need. And it's important that you don't say, oh, that like, oh, wala naman, like you don't have to do anything, even though you feel like you should. So I just try to be clear, like I'll let him know that, oh, I think, if it is okay with you, could you take care of the dogs a little bit more this week, because I don't think I can add on to that. Or maybe it would really help if you just took care of the food, which is usually the case for us. Like, he's the one who can cook, and he's the one who does like, goes to the wet market, buys all the food that we need. I just kind of list down what we need. So like I always let him know, like, I think what could help me the most is if you just take care of the food this week, because I don't think I have the capacity to think about that or like worry about that anymore. And so at least he knows, it's clear to him what I need. And the same with him, if I know that he's like just not doing well, he's not okay. For example, he had a funeral. One of his family members passed away. And so I asked him, like, as I join you in this funeral, how can I support you today? Because I don't know what he may be feeling. Maybe he's not, open. He's not like telling me honestly how he feels, or he's not like very transparent about his emotions, because I know that it's not easy to lose someone. So, being able to say that and him just saying, I'm just glad that you're here is all that I needed to know. Like, that was confirmation that, my presence there, even if I don't have to do anything, is a big deal to him. And even if, things like that, I would usually hesitate to go to, because of course it's like very emotional, very heavy. I knew that I was doing that for him, and that was a lot for him. So, when we practice that, you'll notice that both of you become more very thankful. Like, you become more expressive of how like thankful you are and appreciative you are of just like the support that your partner is giving you. So I think that, again, that has been very, very helpful in our whole entire relationship, especially now. Next is, what do you think we should work on as a couple? So earlier it was more of like, what do you want to work on personally, so that like what your partner needs to focus on. And then the next one, so this one is more of like, what do we need to work on together? So for example, I could say like, oh, I think we need to work on like not spending too much this week, because we need to save up for this. So that's like one thing that would typically be an answer, right? Like, maybe we shouldn't eat out this week, and instead let's cook more together at home. And like, I should do my share of doing the grocery shopping. You should do your share of cooking more, so that we can ensure that we save money. So I think that's also very important, because again, we came into this knowing that this is a partnership, and we're going to work together to make this, to preserve it for as long as possible. And then lastly, we always end with, what are you grateful for? So whenever we talk about like what we're grateful for, those are like very, very special and very touching moments, because, we just kind of like tell each other most of the time. It's like, oh, I was grateful for when you did this for me. I felt like that was very special. Or like, I'm very grateful for this time, because during those times with this question, what are you grateful for? And the first question too, like, when did you feel most loved? You're usually caught off guard in a good way, that you were just probably doing your normal thing, and then this was already such a very big deal for your partner, and they felt like very happy about it, or they felt like very loved just by this small thing that you did. And you probably wouldn't have ever known that or realized that if you never did this sort of check in with each other. So that has always been so nice to experience with my partner. Whenever we just tell each other, oh, I'm very grateful that this week we did this together. Because of that, it really helped me get closer with you, or going back to that first question, I felt so loved when you just took the time to hug me when I was like dealing with a lot of pain because of my period, things like that. Or when you ordered me fries, even though I never asked you to do so. So things like that. And, same vice versa, whenever he says something that I didn't expect that he actually loved, like, that's so special. It just like really warms your heart, and it just makes you fall in love with the person even more. So usually these are the main questions, but we always like add other questions too, especially if there's like something specific that has happened during that time that we want to talk about. We also just add on some questions, and we just find that this helps build trust within our relationship, and just lessen those times of miscommunication, misunderstanding. And even like recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, when we took some time, like we were just here at home, we sat at the couch, and I made sure like ahead of time that I already like told him like, hey, I think I need to sit down and talk to you about some things. Um, because like I'm currently doing like this mentoring thing, life mentoring thing. And we had like a specific topic, and we were asked like as an assignment to talk about it with our loved ones, right? So I just like kind of gave him a heads up, like when you're ready today, because I know that again he has a different communication style as I do. I just told him like when you're ready, I would love to sit down with you and just have a quick check in with you because I have like a question that is needed for this assignment, so something like that. So we were able to sit down and we just like talked about a lot of things. I shared with him like my anxiety and what was going on with me. I shared with him like, we asked each other, what are your boundaries, if you have any more boundaries that we'd like to work on, and like explain to him what that is, what I feel and what I've noticed are his boundaries that I try to respect, and like talk about mine too. And then he also like shared a bit what he's noticed lately with me. So that was like very nice to just like sit down and talk to him about that and like clear some things up, because again, as you live with each other every day and as you're in a marriage, you cannot help but have like a lot of things, just like a lot of problems blow up, and it just like gets so frustrating at times. So when you're like very comfortable with each other, so that conversation with him helped. But I also think it just helps because he's a very, very, very patient partner, and he never like blows up or allows his emotions to get the best of him. He's very like controlled about that, or grounded, more grounded. He doesn't hold his emotions back, but he's just like very grounded about expressing his emotions. So I think it helps that he doesn't like attack me when I attack him. He's always like calm and like level-headed, so that always balances things out. But I think that communication is such an important tool that has helped us get to where we are now, and what I know will help us as we continue on in this marriage. And so just to wrap things up here, using communication as the foundation of our relationship has been very important, especially now that we are married. A lot of the communication skills that we've developed like at the early stages of our relationship are still being used until now, and I know that we can still use them and just like allow them to evolve as the years go by. Communicating our boundaries from the beginning was, I think, very I guess was the one that set the tone for like our whole relationship. So at least that was very clear from the start, and we knew that none of us were like lying to each other, or none of us had like hidden agendas, any ill intentions towards each other. It really helped us get to know each other. But also, besides being honest with our intentions, it was important for me, to confirm that, and him as well, to confirm that with each other's decisions, with our actions, if they all align. Because if they didn't, then that would be a different story. But besides that, it's also being able to listen, just to be able to pay attention to each other, as we're trying to get to know each other in the early stages of our relationship. And now, because we've learned how to listen and pay attention to one another, it has helped us, as we continue on, as now that we are married, just to be like aware of each other and what's going on, instead of just like focusing on ourselves and not your partner. But also, it helped us communicate better with each other through those regular check-ins that we would do, and just allowing us to open up about everything that we're feeling, everything that's going on with us through those check-ins. Because this is, again, a life partnership, and we want this to work. We both are in it together, and it doesn't matter what other people think or say, or what happens, as long as we continue working together to keep this strong. I think that's really all that matters. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi podcast. If you'd like more similar content, you can follow me on all my socials. I have a TikTok, of course on Instagram, at Ilongga Yogi. And I am wishing you peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in the heart wherever you are right now. Always take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you again soon.